No matter what hardship you guys are facing currently in your life or in your business, just know that everything is temporary. Your situation right now is temporary, and you're always moving forward. You're always going to where you want to go.
Came up from the bottom to the top. And the young is gonna never stop. And he always punching in the clock.
Yeah, I know everyone in here is basically here for closing, and I'll keep that the theme, right? Because for me, that's been how I've been able to consistently elevate throughout my career, is through my closing ability, through my sales ability, because sales is everything in your life, right? You're always closing. Doesn't matter if you're closing on a product, you're closing if you're convincing your spouse or your partner on where to go for dinner, right? You're always closing. So for me, that's been the biggest thing ever since I was a young kid, right? I knew that I was always selling, and I knew that I had to get really, really good at it. But I'm going to bring you guys to basically the start of my career and kind of the ups and downs that I've been through. There's been a lot of downs. More downs than ups, but ultimately I've ended up. So that's where the good thing is. And no matter what hardship you guys are facing currently in your life or in your business, just know that everything is temporary. Your situation right now is temporary, and you're always moving forward. You're always going to where you want to go. So my first exposure to, I would say, business and this type of mindset that I've been on for the past 10 years. I'm 28 years old now. But I got started into business at around 19 years old. So I was just hanging out in my college apartment, dorm room. My buddy walks in, and he brings in a big case of energy drinks and drops it on the floor. And he's like, "Hey, bro, we're gonna sell these, and we're gonna make millions of dollars. We're gonna sell these drinks." And obviously it was the classic MLM pitch. And I've never heard anything like network marketing, never heard anything about being able to go and just sell and basically decide your own income, because a lot of what I was taught in school was always like, okay, well, you can pick this job, which has this correlating salary, or you can pick this job, which has this correlating salary. But I always saw a cap. It was like 100K, 150K a year. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, how do people get rich? I'm like, where's the job that makes a lot of money? Where do I make a lot of money? And it was when I got introduced to sales that I realized that, man, that's where you create that uncapped income, is through sales. And then, as you're building your income, you're creating a high income, you're investing into different assets, and you're diversifying your investments basically. So, so that was where I got started, guys, at 19 years old. I got Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad placed in my hands. That is what did the 360 in my mind. And I was like, okay, I don't have to be average. I don't have to do the 40-40-40 plan, right? 40 hours a week, 40 years of your life, try to retire on 40% of your income. I was like, that plan is not for me. So I liked the fact that through sales, through closing, I could control my destiny and I could live the life that I ultimately wanted. So at 19 years old, I started hitting the ground running. I did pretty well, but I would say for me at that time, it wasn't the best time. I was more so distracted with college and, partying and girls and stuff like that. I wasn't super focused on business at the time. So I just kind of, went through the motions. But I guess I could back it up a little bit before that and go even further to tell you guys about me. I'll be real vulnerable and transparent with you guys on my past and my history. I was actually expelled from high school, guys. I was expelled from high school before this. I got into college somehow, but then guess what, guys? I got expelled again from college. I'm that guy who literally got kicked out of 2 schools, and everyone thought I was worthless. I would never do anything. I would never amount to anything. My family thought I was just, the black sheep. I was the screw up kid, because I was just getting in trouble. I was just being, young and dumb and not really looking at where I was going at the time. So kicked out of high school. Okay. I found network marketing, was doing it for a little bit, but I wasn't, it wasn't my priority at the time. I was still screwing around. And then I got kicked out of college. Now, when I got kicked out of college, that for me was the wake up call, because I was no longer under, mommy and daddy's umbrella or their blanket, right? I was in the world, all on my own, 21 years old, massive amount of debt. I had $70,000 in debt stacked up between student loans for, 3.5 years I didn't even graduate from. I had, all these loans. I had car loans. I had credit card loans. I had maxed out all my cards. I had no one believed in me. Nothing. I was really at a low point in my life, guys. And it's where I ultimately made that decision for myself. And if you guys, every single one of you guys on this call, if you haven't made the decision to be successful yet, you need to make that line in the sand decision where you decide that no matter what it takes at all costs, you guys are going to push through whatever you have to get where you're wanting to go. And I wrote down a quote at the time that I learned, and it said, you can have whatever you want if you're willing to do whatever it takes. And I've been having that as a reminder on my phone for the past 6 years. Every single day I wake up, I look at it, I read it out loud. I say, you can have whatever you want if you're willing to do whatever it takes. So at that time when I got kicked out of school, I took the first jobs that I could get. So I went right into working at Subway, and I went working as a dishwasher at another restaurant. So I was working 2 jobs. I was working 7 days a week, approximately 80 to 90 hours per week. And this is what I told myself. I said, no matter what I'm doing or where I'm at or anything, I'm going to be the hardest working person in the room. I'm going to do my job better than anybody else, anywhere I'm at, right? And it didn't have to be something that I like to do or wanted to do. A lot of times at those jobs, it was doing things that I did not want to do at all. I was miserable. I did not want to be working those jobs. But I realized that how you do anything is how you do everything. So for me, it was more so about the subconscious programming and dialing in those habits. Every millionaire, every successful person you see, they have dialed in habits. They don't have bad habits. Okay. So I realized that. And when I did that, so I went from, working at Subway to six weeks later, as a 21-year-old kid, they're offering me to be the manager of the entire restaurant. And that's simply because I was out working everybody. And this is something that you can apply all across your life, right? They gave me my schedule. Everyone else would come in and do the bare minimum, but I would show up early. I would start cleaning under the ovens. I was sweeping. I was cleaning in the bathroom without anyone asking or telling me to. I was, covering other people's shifts. I was staying later. I was being above and beyond customer service with the customers. Anybody can do this. Don't tell me that you can't do it. If you say you can't do this, you're lying to yourself. You can lie to me, you can lie to everybody else, but you can't lie to yourself. So you have to look in the mirror, you have to make that line in the sand decision, and you have to go all in on whatever it is you decide to do. And there's no looking back, there's no plan B. It doesn't matter where you're at. And I knew, even while I was working at Subway and as a dishwasher, I knew that I would be a millionaire. I knew for a fact that I would be a millionaire, and I was already living there in the future. I compartmentalized it in the back of my brain, and I didn't even really exist in where I was at because my temporary situation was a situation that I was not happy about. It was not something that I was passionate about. There was no fulfillment. I was very miserable. But what kept me going is that vision of the destination of where I'm headed. And I knew that my compounded effort and my consistency would ultimately take me to that destination. So when I talked about my goals and my dreams and everything that I was doing at the time, what did people around me say? Yeah, right. You're not going to do that, right? You just have more and more and more negativity coming at you. And I had to put a lock on my brain. And that's something that you guys are going to want to do as well. Put a lock on your brain or a passcode on your brain. A lot of you guys, you have, a passcode for your phone, but you don't have one for your brain. You let people put in whatever they want. There's a lot of junk coming in every single day from society's programming. So you need to put on your blinders and focus on where you're going and what your goals are. Okay, so from this point forward, guys, I was working there for about a year and a half, and then that's where I built up enough capital to start making investments, start getting into different businesses, and start looking to go out on my own. So I went on an aggressive pursuit of information and training. And I can tell that all of you guys have done the same thing. I'm sure this is, some sort of paid group or something like that, where you guys have actually invested into yourselves. Now, I want to commend all of you for investing into yourselves and also investing your time here today on this call, because that's something that you're going to need to continue to do for the rest of your life, because you don't know what you don't know. And the fastest way to collapse timeframes is getting that information from other people who have been through what you're trying to go through. That's how you're going to speed things up. What I've noticed is the difference between people who go places quickly and people who go places slower is the people that go slower are the ones that are not willing to put skin in the game. They're looking for everything has to be free. They're not looking to, pay for, coaching or pay for mentorship or pay for, whatever. To me, that never mattered. It was never about the immediate gratification or what I'm instantly going to get. It was about the long-term goal of where I'm going. And it's just, sometimes I've paid thousands of dollars. I paid $5,000 for a course, and I've literally gotten just one nugget out of that course. And that's the nugget that I needed. It doesn't matter about the rest of the course. I've spent personally over 6 figures on different business coaching, masterminds, training, seminars, you name it, guys. I go to them all, and I'm very, very, very intentional about my networking and getting around other people like you have in this community. So what you have right here is tremendous because you guys do have a community. You do have that team of people to push and pull on and work together as a unit. I believe that's also very, very critical to your success. So continuing on with my story. So what actually happened is I quit my job, right? And I went full time into my first business, basically my first own business. So it was a real estate wholesaling. I'm sure you guys are familiar. I took a course from this guy, clever investor, Cody Sperber. And I was like 22 years old. I was like, okay, I'm going to go flip houses. My parents were like, you're going to go flip houses? You have no money. How are you going to do that? 2 weeks later, I flipped my first house. I was like, well, that's how I'm going to do it, right? Because again, I invested into that education, but then I took that knowledge and I put it into action. That's the biggest key piece too as well, guys, is putting what you learn into action. You can't just take what you learn, put it in your back pocket and be like, look at everything that I know. Look at everything I learned. It's all about doing and failing forward. One of my favorite things to do in life is actually to lose and to fail. The reason why is because I learn and I get that much smarter. Experience has truly been the best teacher for me. So I would urge you guys, if you're having any difficulty with that and with failing and with losing, look inner, right? A lot of times, it sometimes has to do with the ego, right? The ego is something that can really block you in life and business. And one thing I learned is that you need to remove your ego and you need to remain humble. And that's how you're going to always be learning and learning and learning, because I see, again, a lot of people, they hit a certain level and then it's like they know everything. They stop learning. They stop listening to other people. I make 300 grand a year. I make 400 grand a year. And it's like, well, you could probably be making 3 or 4 million a year. But the problem is that you know everything. You're saying, I know everything. I know this, I know that. Me, I realize that I know much, 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 much less than what I don't know. I really don't know much at all, guys. There is so many topics and things and everything that I don't know. And I'm also willing to learn from anyone and everybody. It doesn't matter if they're older than me. It doesn't matter if they're smarter than me. It doesn't matter if they're another race, religion, whatever. It doesn't matter if they're younger than me. A lot of people have an issue with learning from younger people or working with younger people. I've actually run into that in my businesses where people had a huge issue working for me because I was younger for them and their ego was blocking them from elevating in life. So me personally, I'll learn from anyone. If you're an 8-year-old YouTuber who makes 10 million a year, I'm going to learn from you. I'm going to say, hey, what can this kid teach me? You can learn something from anyone and everybody. And even if they're not teaching you something positive or something good, they can also teach you on the counter side of the spectrum and teach you what not to do. You say, hey, this person is, what they're doing here with their business or what they're doing here. This is the perfect example of how I do not want to be in business. This is not how I want to close people. This salesperson is super pushy, super aggressive with me. This is how I do not want to make my prospects feel. I want them to feel good, okay? So these are all tips that you guys can put into practice. So again, back to the story, and guys, I just kind of ramble all over in directions. You probably see why, he said I had a lot of energy. Hopefully I'm making you proud, Alex, on the energy. But so yeah, back to the story.
I love it. And a lot of the words so far, we have a lot of stuff in common, but the way that you talk, failing forward, like the little gems, like same page.
Perfect. So yeah, guys, so I started going on with my wholesaling business. I did a couple of deals, but I didn't really have the capital, the experience, the know-how, and I was running out of money. Okay. So there's one point, boom, I failed. So I went back to working. I went to work at Lowe's. I was pushing shopping carts. I was working in an Italian restaurant, serving at night. For me, it was always about, okay, come back, recoup my resources, and I'm going to make that leap again. So I went back to working. I quit to go full-time into entrepreneurship again. Guess what? I failed again. I had to go back to working jobs a third time. Okay, then I went to go quit again full-time into entrepreneurship. And guess what? I failed again. I had to go back a fourth time to working 9-to-5 jobs. And then finally on that last time, that's where I finally gained my freedom. But it wasn't the end of the challenges, because the challenges and the obstacles are going to be at every single level. Every level has new devils. So what happened in the way I was able to quit my job was I had my big break in network marketing, because that's something that I was doing consistently in the background for years and years and years. Okay, so I'd been a part of a couple of different companies. I'd learned a lot. I'd consistently practiced on my pitch, my close, everything. My team building, I was learning every single skill I could. And remember, I was taking every single course I could, going to every mastermind I could. I was learning about, closing. I was learning about, internet marketing. I was learning about leadership. I was learning about whatever it may be to help me elevate. So after about 6 years of making hardly any money in network marketing, probably $1,000 a month, my biggest months, I was able to grow a team to almost 4,000 people and start earning $25,000 a month residually. Now, that was short-lived. And that's where I thought I'd made it, guys. I thought I'd made it. I'm like, boom, I hit it. That's my big break. But guess what? In business, sometimes, people don't always get along. And the owners of that company were not getting along, and they were not good business owners. So they ended up fighting and taking down the entire business. They crashed the whole business. So I lost my income overnight. I went from $25,000 a month, and I was spending like I was making $25,000 a month to nothing. And then I literally went to the point where my bank account started overdrafting again. Okay, my bank account started overdrafting, but I had launched another company, and I was able to rebuild my 6-figure income. So I built my 6-figure income in network marketing a second time. And I thought that this was a much better project, a better company, better leadership. But here's the funny part, guys, because after about a year, those partners started fighting and getting into it. And then those partners crashed the whole company. They crashed the whole business. So now a second time, I lost my entire 6-figure income, and I went back to scratch with nothing. Okay, so then I launched again. I said, all right, this is the last time I'm doing this, but I'm going to do it again. And I was able to go to a $25,000 a month income again in 6 weeks. So I was able to rebuild my income. But the reason why I was able to continually rebuild and rebuild and rebuild is because of the consistency, guys. It's all about consistency, and the fact that I stay in it every single day for years. People have seen that. People notice that. People in my network, they will see your drive. They will see your work ethic. They will be magnetized to you. Like you're literally like a magnet, and everywhere you go, people are going to want to be around you and doing what you're doing, because they can see your hustle. They can see your authenticity. They can see that you're genuine. One thing for me is integrity. I'm huge on integrity. I never sacrifice a short-term gratification for a long-term gratification. What I mean by that is I would never hype sell someone or pitch heat on something in order to close a deal on false expectations to something that would not be fulfilled on the back end. And then the customer is going to be mad and frustrated and have problems, okay? So for me, and that's just in anything, I'm really big on telling the truth and being honest with people. And when you come from a transparent state, that's something that people are going to respect. And it's something they're going to say, wow, this is different. Okay, this is different. So, so that was my story with network marketing. But also in between those companies going down, I was like, okay, I don't want to depend on these companies deciding my fate anymore. And that's when I started launching some of my other businesses that I have. So what I launched at the time was called Wealth Accelerators. That was the brand, and the basically what we're doing behind the brand is creating passive income streams for people. So we started off originally with e-commerce automation. That was something I had friends that were getting into. They kind of taught me the tricks of the trade and how the business works. So we went and we launched our service, and we started initially with drop shipping on Amazon, but then that is something that kind of got restricted. And then we decided to make the move into being a wholesale seller. And we started doing Amazon FBA stores. Now, in Orlando, where I live, we have 9 warehouses currently, and we've built that business to over 300 employees and 300 active high ticket clients. Okay, this is just for our e-commerce offer. So we started selling these high ticket packages, e-com automation. We do Amazon FBA, we do Walmart wholesale, we do Facebook Marketplace. We've done eBay, Shopify, Target automation, one-stop shop for e-commerce. And then we've also rolled out YouTube automation. So we also build cash cow YouTube channels for people. But once I started launching my high ticket businesses, that's when I was like, man, I should have been doing high ticket all along. First of all, because I was like, with low ticket, it's like with MLM and everything that I've been doing, it's so difficult because you're selling people on a product that's $100, $200. So you're going to still have to overcome just as many objections as you would to close the deal and close the sale as with like any other transaction. You're always going to need at least the 5 to 12 exposure touch and the follow-up drip and stuff like that in most cases. So you're doing a lot of work, but you're not earning as much when you close the deal. So when we started selling high ticket packages that were, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $30,000, $50,000, our highest right now is $75,000. Now, when you close a deal, okay, you've got some money to play with and grow the business and invest and stuff like that. And it just works for a much better system in my mind. So for me personally, I think that everyone should always have a high ticket offer that they're pitching. I like to have high ticket and low ticket because I don't believe in leaving any money on the table. So, every person is going to have a different thing that's right for them. You have to kind of diagnose these people and see what's right, prescribe them what you're selling and make sure that it makes sense for them. Because if you try to sell people on something where they're, it's not for them, that's where you're gonna hit the feedback. You only want to close people that can be sold, right? I think Grant Cardone, I learned this from him. He said you're trying to sell people that aren't sellable. You got to sell people that can be closed, right? So you're never gonna force it down someone's throat. So having good prospects is a good part of that. But like I said, for me, high ticket and low ticket, the mixture of both is perfect. But I definitely prefer high ticket now after playing both sides of the field. And through high ticket, I was able to scale my business relatively quickly. In the past 12 months, we've done a total of 7 million in revenue with our automation company. So we qualified for 2 Comma Club with one of my offers for e-commerce. And I actually just qualified for my second 2 Comma Club award with the YouTube offer in my YouTube funnel. And one of the great things with high ticket is that, it just, like I said, it gives you so much capital to be able to invest. Because if you're growing a business, okay, you need people around you, you need other roles. You can never do everything all on your own. And that was one of the biggest struggles for me transitioning into a business owner, was that I wanted to do everything myself because I knew how I would do it and the quality I would do it at. And I didn't feel like anyone else could do that. So I didn't want to outsource or give tasks away to anyone. I wanted to do everything, but I just got so overloaded that I had to start delegating. I literally got forced into it. And then once I started delegating out tasks, then I was like, this is awesome. I should have been doing this, years ago, because, hey, you may not get the same exact quality of work. Like, you may be here and this is the bar and no one else can get here but you. You're not duplicatable, but you can hire someone who can get right here, or they can get right here. Whereas, it's close, but they're doing a good job. Okay. And you have all these people that are doing that for you. And, you're saving your time, your energy, and your resources so you can focus it on where else you need it. And also you're going to have investment, with the high ticket, you have money where you can invest into, different contractors, different, websites or softwares or tools or marketing or whatever you need for your business. So high ticket for me has been the go-to. And it's been a huge learning process for me. Like I said, guys, I've just continually failed forward and forward and forward. And it never mattered to me what the challenge was, what the obstacle was. I used to actually, I guess you could say even now still, I do get kind of excited when a massive obstacle gets unloaded on me, because it brings back that feeling of if you're back in the wall and being cornered. And that's where I feel like I personally perform at my highest. So, there's been times where, I watch people, they panic and they get all emotional and this. You got to remove your emotions from business. You need to be calm, cool, and collected at all times, guys. I would highly recommend that you study emotional intelligence, because that's been one of the biggest things for me that has helped me remain like this through all the ups and downs, guys. I'm always like this. You're never going to get me too high. You're never going to get me too low. Okay. Because I don't let anything get in the way. Any obstacle or challenge, I already expect it. A lot of people I see, they get hit with a challenge or an obstacle, and that's it. They throw in the towel. They're done at that point. So any challenge that you guys are facing, understand that they're already going to happen. A lot of people, I'm like, they get into business or sales or whatever, and they're thinking that it's just everything in life is just going to be a breeze. I mean, you're coming in with the absolute wrong expectation. You should expect that there's going to be obstacles, but guess what? That's good, because that's where the growth happens. Okay. It's when you meet that resistance, you break through, that's where you're going to get growth. You're never going to grow inside of your comfort zone. You're just not going to. So when I realized that, I just, became very intentional about putting myself outside of my comfort zone. One thing that I didn't like to do, guys, was public speaking. It's one thing I did not like to do. When I was in school as a kid, in high school, college, I would get up, I'd be shaking, I'd be, stumbling over my words, sweating profusely, just so nervous, and just did not want to get up in front of a room and talk to people. But, it's something when I was in network marketing, they continually told me, they're like, the person in the front of the room makes the most money. The person in the front of the room makes the most money. So I was like, okay, well, if that's the case, then I have to be the person in the front of the room, because I'm not going to let my fear hold me back, which is literally your false evidence appearing real. So I'm not going to let my fear hold me back. And instead, I'm going to have the courage to do the things that I'm afraid of, because courage doesn't mean you have no fear. It just means that even when you're being afraid, you do it anyway. So I started to push myself and become speaking in front of the room. And slowly but surely, I became a very good public speaker. People told me, wow, you're amazing at speaking. I started traveling all over the world and going to Asia and Europe and speaking in front of 300, 400, 500 people, and with no problem, almost more comfortable speaking in front of the crowd than I am in a one-on-one conversation with someone in person. And that's because I continually put myself in that state of discomfort to the point where it just became automatic, where no matter what it is now, even if I have anxiety or a level of fear about something, it does not faze me or stop me whatsoever. I just automatically get up and I do what I have to do. So that's one thing that I would say is really huge, guys, is, getting out of your comfort zone and being intentional about doing things that make you uncomfortable, because that's what's going to really help you in business, because you're going to have no choice but to get uncomfortable. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather get uncomfortable a few times and live the life of my dreams than be a victim to that fear and that comfort zone and stay where I'm at. That's my biggest fear in life, is staying where I'm at. I always want to be moving and I always want to be going forward, guys, because you all have tremendous potential. Every single one of us on this call, we're all the same, guys. Everybody's the same. There's no one in this world that's better than you, and don't let them tell you that. No one is better than you. Everybody you see who has massive, massive, massive success in life, you know what they are? They're a human. You know what you are? You're a human. There's not much difference. The only difference is the 6 inches between here. It's in here, guys. It's all in your head. Your mindset is definitely one of the biggest factors behind it, because that's going to give you that drive, or that's going to have you that pull back. So you need to master your mind. Once you master your mind, you'll master the universe, because literally everything else is going to come for you. But you need to be like a heat-seeking missile towards your goals, towards your dreams. And there, like I said, there's no reserves. There's no plan B. You literally burn the ships, right? You don't go back. Once I made that decision, okay, there was no going back. There has never been an option to ever look back. Maybe because I messed up so early in my life, it was easier for me to make that decision, because everyone had basically bailed and abandoned me. I had no friends left. My family didn't even want to be around me. I had no money, huge amount of debt, literally all alone in the entire world. And I felt like there was no one there who had my back. And that's when I made that decision. It's much easier to make that decision at a very low rock bottom, but maybe you haven't had that experience in your life. Maybe you haven't had that low, that's made you turn the switch and kick it into gear and say, I'm doing this. So if you haven't had that, that's okay. I mean, that's a good thing that you haven't hit a rock bottom, but you need to find that and channel it within your inner self. You need to have that why that makes you cry. Why are you doing this? What is it that you're going to gain out of what you're doing, and why are you doing it? Are you doing it for your family? Are you doing it for your kids? Are you doing it for yourself? What is the reason? And make it a good reason, or something that you can't turn back on. There's no going against it once you decide, guys. And you just have to be completely all in. There's literally no way to put it. Anything that I do, I'm never half in, half out. I don't make a decision and then I'm wishy-washy on it and I jump out. If I make a decision to do something and I put my word on it, I'm going to do that. Okay. You need to be a man or a woman of your word. And that's to yourself as well. You want to do it around other people. They're going to respect that. If you're a man or woman of your word, you say, I'm going to do something, and then you go and do it. Okay. People are going to respect you. People are going to know that you're a player. They're going to know that you're real and they can do business with you. Okay. But if you lie to yourself, guys, and you're not, you're not drawing that line in the sand, then, you're going to have difficulty. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of rambling here, guys. I guess, Alex, should we open it up for some questions or anything specifically that you guys would like me to touch on?
Dude, that was perfect, man. That's exactly what I like. Not much structure, super raw, how you got to where you're doing, failures, all that stuff. Look, there's already like 10 people raise their hands. So we'll go around the room. We'll answer some questions for like the next 25 minutes. And yeah, man, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Okay, I don't even know who went first because so many hands went up at one time. So I'm just going to start with Andy.
Oh, dang. Well, hey, thank you for speaking. Sorry, can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Andy.
Nice to meet you as well. Honestly, the question I really had, you pretty much hit on was about, what was your first month of revenue as far as like, what I'm saying, your lowest amount to ensure people, it's like just because you gain a small amount your first or second try doesn't mean it's not there for you.
I would say that slow progress is progress. A lot of people forget that slow progress is progress. And for me personally, it was much harder for me to start making, $2,000-$3,000 a month in passive income or, in business income than it was for me to make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month in income. The hardest leap for me was getting over that first couple $1,000s in business. So that literally took me years and years and years and years, like 5-6 years. And then as soon as I passed that, I went 10,000 a month, 30,000 a month, 50,000 a month. Like it was almost crazy, the exponential effect of it. So I would say, Andy, progress is progress. And you don't need to measure the size of the progress. I mean, you're always going to obviously want to, measure your metrics in your business and know your numbers. But just because you may feel like it's not the amount of progress you need to be, don't ever let that discourage you, because all progress is progress. And one thing I can encourage you guys to do is stop looking in every other direction at what other people are doing. It's all about you and your blinders. It's you versus you. It's like golf, right? A lot of people I see are watching things that other people are doing. So no matter what they do, it's never good enough because they're always finding someone who's doing it better. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to get distracted. That's one of the worst things you can do, is get in a state of comparison, because comparison is the thief of joy. So you're just playing this game. This is a one-on-one game of life, man. It's Andy versus Andy. This is my life. How do I make the most out of Andy's life? What does Andy want? What is Andy going to do? I'm making that decision. I don't care what anybody else is doing. I'm not looking at them. I'm not concerned with them because they have their own life. They're focused on their life, but Andy's focused on Andy. And that's pretty much the mentality that I've stuck with my entire life, and or the past 10 years or so in business. And I'm very specific and particular about this, and especially with other things too that can happen in business, like drama, distractions. I see a lot of people get caught up in drama in business, and a lot of this and this back and forth. You know what that does? It just It just distracts you from making money in your goals. So I have no time for drama. I have no time or concern for what other people are doing or what they've done and what this and that. I'm focused on me. It's all me all day. This is where you need to be selfish in life, in this one arena.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for giving me some time.
For sure.
Love that. Love that. All right. I think Iana was up next. Is that how I say your name? I haven't met you yet.
It's Ayana.
Ayana. There we go. Let's go, girl with the beautiful hair.
Thank you. All right, Mike, that was an amazing presentation. But my question for you is, will we be able to get this video? Because I want to look back at this for like motivation when I do get at my low point, so I can make sure, you know, I'm still on the track of, you know, keeping up what I have to keep up and make sure I'm doing my due diligence so I can meet my goals.
Yeah, I see that they have it recording, so I'm imagining, Chad, I think they'll have that access to that. Yeah.
Ayana, that will actually go up to Mike's YouTube channel. It'll get put up there in about a week's time.
Okay, thank you.
And also I would say, Ayana, if you do find yourself in a low point, or you do find yourself, what I would encourage you to do is to focus on the growth. Look at what you're learning and look backwards at, you know, where you are from where you started and where you're at from where you're now, because a lot of times in the day-to-day of the grind, you know, it's you know, sun up to sundown, sun up to sundown, sun up to sundown. You're turning your wheels so much, you're so busy, you feel like you're exerting so much effort, and it's been such a long amount of time. But when you just stop and you look back and you're like, oh, I only started 90 days ago, I'm already a completely different person. I already see the growth. Okay, the money will catch up. The most important thing is you. It's your value, your skills, and your network, and everything that you're putting out into the universe. Because I would literally work nonstop, day and night, making no money, but I knew how much was coming in the future. That's all I needed to get through. You just need to see where you're going, and then once it starts to come, then it'll start to speed up. But you guys just have to understand, you know, as you get starting with anything, you're gonna have to be a warrior. It's like no one's born knowing how to do anything. No one's born, you know, being, you know, LeBron wasn't born knowing how to shoot or dunk a basketball, right? Tiger Woods was not born knowing how to play golf. The top closers in the world, the top salespeople, Mike, you know, he wasn't born knowing everything that he knows about business. He had every single person you see, the entire world who's successful, went through those ups and downs and those challenges. So you just got to be a warrior and just keep going through. But always remember why you're doing this, and let that be your motivating factor when you find yourself at the lowest. You're like, man, I really feel like throwing in the towel, but this is for my family. This is for my legacy. This is for my children. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. So that's going to allow you can't quit, because if it's just you could throw in the towel, but it's bigger than you. It's for your family. It's for everybody. So you cannot quit no matter what. That's the biggest thing. Never, ever, ever quit, guys. Never. That's it.
Absolutely. That was amazing. Thank you.
All right. Victory. You're muted.
Victory,
man.
you got to mute, bro.
No longer.
There we go.
Kudos up to Yin Yang from Michael. I am 63 and I feel you because of my focus on whatever, I'm going to be righteous. After finding the difference people would see just because I came in with sales. Hallelujah. My buddy's name was Todd. He was contrast. Boom. He was my closer. How do I get past that?
Can you repeat that last part again?
My Euro bro was the closer, though I was the informant they denied coming in to close.
So who denied you closing?
Before it got in the circle of the corporations I was hitting up, these were businesses in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
I was with family down there for a minute.
Okay.
And I'm in Wisconsin and I'm exiting, and I just want to know the closing, no matter what color. I'm being brutally honest, since I appreciate you, Mike Barron.
No, it's because
Honesty, you know.
I like the way
Gianna,
this
can you
I go from the concept of being human. Frick the race. It's just another division. I'm about our children's legacy. I claim to be a teenager. I think only the panelists saw it, because I feel the gap between the boomers and the millennials. Yes, you guys are on the freaking way. Millennials. So I just got, hey, dude, literally over and over again, because I won't wimp out as a man of chocolate, which is tryptophan. I'm only trying to stir up serotonin, so we're excited. But he tried to bloom, bloom, bloom just because they can't control me. Mm-hmm. You guys have been brutally honest to me. Help, please.
Mm-hmm. I think for me personally, one thing that has always worked out for me is to personally trust in the universe, because a lot of times the universe will steer you away from places that are not meant for you and where you don't want to be to begin with, and it's going to direct you to somewhere that is meant for you and where you will be included and accepted and loved and welcomed into the community and appreciated. And I think that's very important in my life is, you know, in addition to everything I went over, is ultimately trusting in the universe and believing that I will get everything that I want and desire. So, you know, when things haven't worked out my way, and there's been plenty of times, right? And I'm sure in all of your lives with lots of things where, you know, you were really let down by something, or something rubbed you the wrong way, or, you know, maybe your relationship didn't work out, or, you know, anything like that, guys. But what's meant for you is even greater. And you may not be able to see it right at that point in time. And there have been times in my life where I did not see that at all. And I did not understand why these things were happening to me. I did not understand why businesses were collapsing on me, why I kept losing my money, why I couldn't succeed in this business, why I kept going broke, why everyone kept abandoning me, why everyone turned their back on me, why no one would help me, why no one would include me, why no one would reach out to me. There was many, many things where I was like, why isn't this happening this way? And then in trusting in the universe and following my path and my destiny, it led me to exactly the place that was meant for me and the people around me, the relationships, the businesses, everything is meant for you. So whether you see it right here, right now, you just have to trust and you just have to let go, and you got to let the universe take control. And for me personally, that served me very well, but I can only speak on, you know, my personal experiences. So that's right. The approach that I take with everything.
I made an assumption that I could be as brutally honest with the interference that's not constructive interference. People are bailing on me because of their other friends that are much lighter in complexion. I am only about our children's legacy, so I don't go vengeful on that ass.
I think that that's their loss is what I think. I think that, yeah, I think that.
Finish? Michael, let me finish so you
sure.
totally get all of this electronics, okay?
Send it.
The consciousness, we're on the same page. Electricity, our consciousness. I'm trying to get the head-heart coherence up and running. That's why I keep posting that. And anybody that is anxiety off the chain or anger or whatever, definitely fear mongered, do it. I was absorbing more of what you were saying while I was not seeing, because I'm like tuned into the universe, as you just nailed. Yes, I can't pick the politics. I can't pick a side. But see, I'm the one that stands up in the middle of a meeting that says, no way, Jose. We've got too many people that put too much into that. So big companies said, boy, after a long time, because I did stabilize, I'm a retainer for customers. Anyway, my point is, I don't love money enough. because it screwed up my mom. Believe it or look it up. Warren Buffett was around us when I was growing up. I didn't know who the hell he was until I was about 27 in Chicago working on the railroad, pulling those trains around. Boom. Dang, that's Peter's dad. What? He didn't have a fence around his house when I grew up. But the point is, you know, I had consciousness that people cut off immediately. I literally have recorded and busted people. Yep, fired. Point is, I never turned into an evil asshole. I don't want to do that to nobody, family man. This is about the Rasta man, like you say, in the universe. But hey, I appreciate your encouragement. Please note, guys.
I appreciate you. I think you should own the business. I think you should hire the closers.
I want to fill the gap between the millionaires and the boomers with the children's legacy so much more healed than ours.
I think you have a tremendous message and a tremendous energy about you. And I think that's something that is, like I said, the universe is saving you for something greater. So while you may think this is what you want right now, the universe wants you for something else because they want you to get out. They want people to know who you are.
One more thing. I want to open up womb schooling. Womb schooling is this. The babies are listening before you meet them. That placenta is a satellite dish. Mom's thoughts, the tone in it, spoken or not, and the feelings are enculturating that precious one. Outside environment is hammering. It ain't a concert. It's a meta coherence or incoherence going on. Okay, that baby's born. They don't cry. I put it like this. I verified it with my son. Born, 23 now. I'm trying to get him here, guys. Sneak up on this guy named Vanna Smith. I don't care. I don't need the money.
Victory, send me his name, mate. I'll find him for you.
I'm sorry?
Send me his name. I'll find him for you.
Sneaker guy. Boom. Got it. Okay. But after he was late starting to find out what lunch, breakfast, and dinner was, boom. I'm looking at him. He's just, he can't see. As soon as I open my mouth, he shuts down crying like he's smiling and reaching up and kicking. And the nurse rushes over and said, "What happened?" I'm like, "The hell, we just met. We've been talking. I've been telling him who he was." And boom. Fast forward, 25 academic scholarships, thinner between the two hemispheres, no babies. I'm sure plenty of enjoyment, but no habit by shut me down being a doctor. 4th grade to freshman in college, he said, forget about it. But I love his segue into technology. That's the duh moment.
Victory. Appreciate your question, brother. We haven't got much time left. We're going to get a few more questions out, eh?
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's go, Robert.
Yes, sir.
Two more questions, guys. Just a heads up. 2 more questions.
What's up, Michael? I'm 24 years old, but my question is, how do you practice? Because I'm in sales right now, and I believe there's a right way to practice and there is a wrong way to practice. And we're creatures of habit, and I don't want to get any bad habits. And that's in sales and trading, because I see you trade too a little bit, and I dabble in binary option trading. Okay. So how would you practice in life to become that? To make the maximum progress,
you gotta practice how you play. So that means repetition. So that means you gotta get talking to prospects. You gotta get on the phone, smiling and dialing. There's no shortcut around you talking to a lot of people. You can study the drill book all day, but until you fall on your face and you get into those awkward moments on the calls, you kill the deal on the phone, all the things that you're going to do, which everyone's going to do, say the wrong thing, whatever, you're going to learn every single time, because every single phone call, you're smarter, you're better, you're sharper, you're more agile, you're more persuasive than the previous phone call. So you got to practice how you play. And then for me, it's obsessive, like Grant Cardone. I'm a huge fan of Grant Cardone. I study him a ton. be obsessed or be average. I really took that to heart. So I became obsessed with sales. So I turned off my TV, I turned it off, and I turned on sales training all the time. Everywhere I'm at, sales, 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 sales. I'm reading the books, I'm listening, I'm driving in my car, I'm listening, I'm absorbing everything subconsciously about closing. And that's really how you take, from going from here to here. And, you're walking, you go from here to, you're way past it. Like I said, one thing for me is compressing timeframes. So I want to do things as fast as possible. So I would say repetition, and for trading, same thing, because I've been trading for 6 years, and that's another thing of you versus yourself. So you need to practice trading. I spent thousands of hours staring at, candlesticks going like this, and learning what the heck's going on, and learning from people who have the results that I want. It's, I'm constantly in everything in life, I'm always looking for and leaning on my mentors, because there's always someone else. That's really what the point of a mentor is to help you compress those timeframes, because they've already done what you're trying to do. So instead of me going out and trying to reinvent the wheel, I'll just go to the mentor. They'll tell me what they did to get where they're at. And if you do what people do and say what they say, eventually you're going to get exactly what they have. So, that phrase is one of my favorites. If you do what people do, say what they say, you'll get what they have. That was one of the first phrases I got really exposed to in business at 19. And I still say that today, and I still practice it. So yeah, I mean, you got to practice how you play. Repetition. You're 24 years old. You're young. You're in it, man. You got a lot of time. I see a lot of young people that feel like their life is ending in 2 years, right? Even like 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, they're like, I'm not here yet, or I'm not, Gary Vaynerchuk is always talking about this. He's like, dude, you're young, okay? Even if you're 40, 50, that's young. Your life ain't over. You guys got a lot of time here. We're here for a while, okay? So, don't focus so much and freak yourself out and, I got to get here and there and I got to do this and that, and just let it be. For me, it took way longer than I expected personally, because it took me years and years of banging my head against the wall, but it didn't matter how long it took me, how fast or how long. I already made the decision. I know you made the decision as well. So you just got to keep going. When I was 24, I was broke working at Subway, making $7.50 an hour. Now I do, I'm 28, I make a good amount, multiple seven figures. So, that's 4-year timeline from being completely, broke, busted, and disgusted to almost hitting 8 figures before I'm 30. So it's the compound effect. It's the compound effect. You're going to work. You're not going to see any results for a long time. But then you're going to start to see a little results, and then a little more, and a little more, a little more. And then everything that you've done, all the hustle, sacrifice, grind, blood, sweat, tears, energy, momentum, everything, emotion, everything that you've put into it, it all pays off, and the universe rewards you. Because I always trust in the process. I always trust in the universe. It's never let me down so far. So you guys, I would say, do the same.
Yes, sir. Michael, I want to say you're a great speaker, bro. I commend you for the way you handle everything inside of this Zoom.
Thank you.
That was great. But me being from Florida, and you being, I live in Jasper right now, and you're from Orlando.
I'm in Orlando.
So
yeah.
first I gotta say, but so you've been through a lot, right? I'm 19, so you've been through a lot. Okay, you say you got kicked out of high school, got kicked out of college. So my question is, what was your biggest motivation? You said you had a lot of people that left you. There was a lot of detractors saying you can't do this, you can't do that. Was that your biggest motivation? Because you fell and you got back up. I fell a couple times, and I know that I had to get back up. Like with this, when we joined this program, I done failed a couple times. I remember I wouldn't take anything serious till I got scammed I got scammed out of money. And so then I was like, okay, I gotta do this. And so now I'm finna move out. I'm finna move to Miami. That's step one.
Nice.
And you said
out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, you kept falling. You kept getting back up. So I just want to know, you fell like at least 10 times, bro. How'd you do it? What was your biggest motivation?
I mean, ultimately, it all comes back to my why and that decision that I made, that line in the sand, because I did screw up so much. And like I said, I feel like that's kind of my advantage, how bad I wrecked my life. Is, I was getting her in trouble. Like I was, getting kicked out of schools. I was arrested 4 times before I was 21. you know, doing stupid things. And that was really my advantage because, like I said, everyone did bail on me in life. And I just kind of used that as, you know, I knew the value that I have within myself. And, you know, it's almost like, you know, yeah, you want to prove things to people, but more important than that, I always wanted to prove it to myself because everyone around me was shitting on me. And, you know, I lost all these people. I thought they were going to be my friends for life. And, you know, I have no friends anymore. And I'm like, man, like what am I doing? What do I want out of life? And I said, you know what? Screw what everybody else thinks. This is where number one, I stopped caring what other people think about me. That's one of the biggest things that's going to hold you back is caring about what people think about you. If your first thought is when you're about to put up a post for your business or, you know, whatever you're promoting or, you know, something about your lifestyle and your first thought is, well, what's this person going to think of that? Or what's this person going to think of that? You guys need to get rid of that. And you need to learn how to stop caring what other people think about you because their opinions are theirs. It has nothing to do with you. It doesn't matter what their opinions are of you. It's not who you are. What matters is who you see yourself as. Because everybody has an entire different life and different, they got raised a different way, different programming. They grew up in a different neighborhood, different town. They have different perceptions, different beliefs, different values. For you to take that and someone's opinion of you and have that, you know, create a bearing on what you think of yourself. I mean, you're downplaying yourself. You're downselling yourself, and you're selling yourself short, right? Like I said. You know, you need to tap in to the power that you have, Look at every remarkable human being that's ever existed since the beginning of time. And remember, like I said, they're no different than you and me. They're no different. They're humans. All they did was decide it here. They got the right mindset and then they put it into action and they stayed consistent. So you have to decide, take action and stay consistent. And that's literally all you have to do. And then continue elevating your circle and getting around people that have what you want. So the fact that you're moving to Miami, number one, tremendous decision, because that's one thing that I did. I moved out of my hometown, originally born and raised in Connecticut. And when I got I got kicked out of high school, I moved to Florida. So when I moved to Orlando, I've also lived in Miami. And one thing with Miami is different than Jacksonville. With Miami, you're going to see even more money. It's going to start to help you achieve that belief of what's possible, because a lot of people, they're trapped in their perceptions of what's around them and what they know and what they're comfortable with. They don't know anything else than that. When you go to Miami, you'll be downtown, you'll walk out of a building, okay, there's a Lambo, there's a Rolls truck, there's an Urus, there's an R8, there's an abundance of wealth. And you're and that's something that you want to continually reinforce in your mind is abundance and living abundantly. And the fact that you're in Miami, there's so many people that are making business moves and so open to you getting around them, whether you have to pay or not, doesn't matter. I'll pay as much as I have to pay to get around the people that I need to get around, because I value their time. Okay. You don't ever want to approach a successful person wanting handouts, wanting stuff for free, because their time is super valuable. And if you just try and waste their time, that shows them that you have no respect for their time. So I always respect successful people's time very much. And I'm always looking to add value first. I add value first, and then it's almost obligatory for them to exchange the value back. Okay, so it's a two-way street. Okay, so that's very important. And I kind of rambled on. I kind of forgot what the original question was. So I think it was about you're 19, you're a young guy, and okay, so you were asking me how I got the motivation to really throw everything aside, and like I said, use those downfalls, use those L's as what charges you up. I used my losses as way more motivation than regret. And number one, you never want to be living in either the future or the past. If you're living in the future, you're worrying about everything, you're having anxiety. If you're living in the past, you're living with regret. So I'm always in the present moment, but in my mind with my vision, I'm where my vision is in the future. So I exist presently, but I'm also where I'm going in my future, not anxious, but excited. I'm excited for where I'm going. And I just use it as more fuel to the fire. The more people that are counting me out, the more haters that I have, the more that fires me up, the more that charges me up. And honestly, you know, as I started to succeed in business, people that I had that, you know, I thought would be friends in my life or, you know, would always back me up, people started randomly lashing out at me, exposing themselves for who they really are. And I'm thankful for that because I got to see who the snakes were in my circle, and they exposed themselves. And you're going to have to, you know, separation or elevation requires separation. So sometimes you got to stop getting around people that you're with. And that's why, again, the fact that you're moving to Miami, I commend you because you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So if you're continually hanging out around people in Jacksonville that you grew up with that aren't on the same level, energy, motivation, and drive as you are, they're literally going to pull you down. Okay, it's like a bucket of crabs. This is a good way to explain it. I don't know if you guys know how a crab trap works, but what happens is the top is open and then all, you know, they put the bait in and the crabs all climb in, but the top is still open. They can climb out. But the problem with crabs is when they start to climb out, what do all the other crabs do? They actually pull back the other crab and they pull them down to the point where they'll literally even pull off each other's limbs. They'll pull off your legs and your claws for you trying to get out. This is how the life works. Okay. This is how the world is. When you're reaching for higher and a better life, people that are in you know, they're envious of that, or they're it's more so an internal problem with them and the fact that they're not willing to do the things that you are. And they want to basically, like, misery loves company, right? They want you to stay where they are at. So in life, you gotta go on and you gotta follow your path. And like I said, you can't care what anybody says or thinks, even if that's your family. Okay, my parents, you know, they love me, but they were giving me horrible advice. Okay, I know that they love me and they were telling me what they think is the best advice and that I should continue trying to work my way up at Subway, or I should try and work my way up at Lowe's, and I should just give up on entrepreneurship and business and sales. And they don't really get it. They don't understand trading. They don't understand crypto. And they gave me all this bad advice, but I didn't listen to that, guys. I knew that they love me, but it's in one ear and out the other. I'm focused on where I'm going. Like I said, you're always in the blinders. So, you know, just, you got to learn to tap in and just fire yourself up and burn the bridges, like everything. There's nothing more important than you hitting your goals.
Guys, what up? It's your boy, Mike Barron. Thank you for checking out the YouTube channel. Truly appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you forget, I'm gonna come through this computer right now and I'm gonna close you my damn self. Let's go. I'll see you at the top, y'all.